Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Autumn and today is going to be a vacation reading vlog. I have already filmed this video, but I did not get a lot of b-roll and I didn't introduce the video before I just started recording. So I wanted to do all of that now. We ended up going to Salt Lake City, Utah. We have some family that lives out there. So every year we go and visit them. They do a little bit of skiing. I am not a skier. I am very much a coffee shop, sit and read type girly. And that was pretty much all I did for an entire week. And while I was there, I did some book shopping and I read 2 books. One of the books I read the entire time I was there, and then the other book I had like 50% left of that book. I ended up bringing and reading that book as well, and it is Vengeance of the Pirate Queen by Trisha Levenseller. So this is book 3 in the Daughter of the Pirate King series. This book does not follow the same main character for the other 2 books. It follows one of the side characters, and she was by far one of my favorite side characters, and she has to go on a side quest to find some of the missing crew that went off to go do a task for the Pirate Queen, and they vanished. They entered some uncharted territory and then they never heard from them again. So our main character, Serinda, she is a first-time captain. She is sent because she is like one of the most trusted people to our Pirate Queen, and she was like, I'm selecting you, you pick your crew, and I'm gonna give you a few other people, and then you're gonna go find the missing people and bring them back. You're the only person I trust that can do that. I really loved this book, and while I won't read the full synopsis, it says you can't be afraid of the dark when you're the monster lurking in the shadows. I am absolutely obsessed with this book. It was slightly different from the adventures that we went on with the first 2 books and kind of like the vibes. I still loved it. I gave it 4.5 stars. I did end up listening to the audiobook as well when we were on the plane flying. I have not read the audiobook for the first 2, so I'm not quite sure how they are, but if it's the same audiobook narrator, it's probably a great time. I enjoy Trisha Levenseller. She's one of the first authors when I started to get back into reading and writing. She was one of the first authors that I found. So I feel like she and her writing and anything she writes will always hold a special place in my heart. I will probably own everything that this author writes, and I think she does a great job. I think she has a lot of fun with the characters that she crafts. I am always interested in the world. I don't want to say I go in with like super low expectations because that's not quite fair. I go in with expectations to just have fun and to just have a great time, and that's usually what Trisha Levenseller gives me. Okay, so this is my first update on vacation. So I wanted to let you guys know that I'm about 30% into The Return of Ellie Black. It is wild. Okay, I have so many theories. I have so many thoughts on this book. I'm also trying to be quiet because there's like people kind of just resting. This is definitely going to be like no spoilers, but within the first like 20%, there was a lot of like really weird things that were happening with this book. And right from the get-go, like right in like the first chapter, it might actually have been the prologue, Ellie comes back. And that's definitely not a spoiler because that's in the first part of this book. We get so many different perspectives on the story. I'm listening to the audiobook as well as following along with my Kindle. I love the full cast of the audiobook narrators. This audiobook is really great and I am really loving it. I find it very intriguing. We're learning a lot more about Ellie, like when she is coming back, because like I said, I'm about 30% of the way through the book now, and we have learned a little bit more about Ellie. She has gone to talk to a counselor, and the detective has also talked to her a little bit to try and like figure out what exactly was going on, or like, you know, what happened to Ellie. She's being very closed off, which, you know, would be expected. So I'm really intrigued with with this story. I think the writing style is phenomenal, and with it being told from different perspectives, I think it does a pretty solid job with keeping, even though it's not first person, I think whenever it switches to following another character, it puts you into a different headspace because you know you're following a different character. And I have a lot of respect for this author because I believe that this is their debut, and so far it's amazing. It's really creepy. One of the perspectives is actually Ellie 2 years ago with, you know, her surviving, and so learning about what she was going through and what she was doing to survive is, I feel, very relatable to real life, like a situation that could happen. And we had someone who went missing for like 2 years and then they came back, the trauma and like the baggage that they carried. I think that this book is very well done, at least this first 30%. I'm really enjoying it. It has my attention, and I am on chapter 11. I am going to get back to reading for a bit. I will probably give you guys an update after I finish. The second book that I did end up reading was The Return of Ellie Black by Emiko Jean. This book, let me jump out the gate and say I did give it 3.5 stars. I enjoyed it. I had fun. I just think that the more it sits with me, the more to me, it's just an okay story. Do I think that the writing was beautiful? Do I think that this author has amazing potential? Abso-freaking-lutely. And I think that this was very well paced. I liked the plot twists in this story. There were a few in here that I wasn't expecting that I did end up enjoying. I think I've talked about it in like 3 different videos, so I'll just read the little snippet at the top. It says, "A missing girl returns, but that isn't the end of the story. It's only the beginning." I did love the characters. I think that the author did a really great job with crafting characters that would make sense in this story. And like I said, I did enjoy it. I liked the twists and the turns, and there were a lot of twists and turns in here that I really wasn't expecting. The way that the story went was not what I was expecting, and I think that that is what made the story really unique and a good bit refreshing. I am not a psychologist. While I have no degree in psychology, I think that this book did an excellent job with having those conversations. So obviously there was something going on where our main character, what was her name? Ellie. Oh, duh, Ellie Black. While we know that something happened to Ellie, she was missing for some type of reason for so long, and then she ends up coming back, and she's not quite the person that she was when she left. I was expecting the story to kind of go a different route. Not that the route that the story went was bad in any way, shape, or form. I just think that the way that the story did end up going was fine. And it's something that where the more it sits with me and the more that time goes on, it's not one of my favorite reads. It would be something I would recommend to somebody if I felt like that this type of book would be something that someone would be interested in, but I don't think that it was the best book that I've read, and it certainly by far is not the worst. And I would give this author another shot. And without spoiling too much, I think that some things that did happen, I felt like I needed a little bit of that suspension of disbelief because I just don't know if they could happen. You know, if that makes any sense without spoiling. Those are the 2 books that I did end up reading on vacation. I ended up finishing Vengeance of the Pirate Queen, and I read cover to cover The Return of Ellie Black. In addition to all of the reading I did, I ended up doing a little bit of book shopping. So we went to a couple of bookshops while we were in Salt Lake. I don't remember the names of them, but I did get some B-roll, went to some tea shops, and we had a really fun time. It was great. I always enjoy finding tea shops, finding coffee shops, trying cute little pastries, and then finding bookstores. And we stumbled across one bookstore. I did not end up getting, why does that sound weird? I didn't purchase anything from one of the bookstores we ended up stumbling across, but it had such a cool vibe. It was very sci-fi and fantasy, and I really loved that one. I didn't buy anything because I think I had already purchased these two books that I'm holding in my hand. I only had a carry-on bag, and I'm like, I can't buy an entire bookstore to come home with me. I did not buy anything. However, I did find some really cool books, and I did enjoy the vibes in there, and I would love to go back the next time we go to Salt Lake and just to really walk around and maybe make that the reason I go. Without further ado, let me talk about the two books that I did end up buying. So we went to a small little indie bookstore. One of these books, it was one of those blind date with the books, and I love that idea. Our local indie bookstore does that. I think that that is just such a fun time. I ended up doing one. I kept the little cover that said the blind date with a book, and it said it is an astro-futuristic novella about war, identity, and coming of age ... in space. And it is Binti by Nnedi Okorafor. I may have just butchered that author's last name. I cannot tell you guys how freaking excited I was to get this book as the blind date because I've been wanting to read this book, and at the time that I unwrapped this book, I had been reading a lot of sci-fi during the time, and so it was just like perfect for me to like continue to scratch that itch. This is, I think, a trilogy, so it's the first novella of 3, I believe, and it says she left her home for the stars but found more adventure than she bargained for, a tense and intimate coming of age story in space. She's real cute. I love it. I am super excited for this book. It goes perfectly with the other book that I ended up purchasing from the same bookstore. I loved Sea of Tranquility by Emily St. John Mandel, so I ended up buying her other book, which is Station 11. I loved this copy because I own the paperback of Sea of Tranquility, so it was perfect that I was able to find this book there. I can't wait for this one. A superb novel that leaves us not fearful for the end of the world, but appreciative of the grace of everyday existence. I absolutely loved Sea of Tranquility, so I'm hoping this one will be kind of similar vibes. I really don't know a whole lot more about it other than that, and that it was $10 and I knew I had to have it. When I went book shopping, I got these 2 sci-fi books, so I'm really happy to expand on my sci-fi collection. I don't know when I will read them in full transparency, but I got these and I'm super excited about it. Super stoked. Absolutely cannot wait to read both of them. They live on my small little sci-fi corner that's actually like right above me. It's this one and then this one. So that is going to conclude my reading on vacation vlog. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if you've read any of the books that I read in this vlog, or if you have read any of the 2 books that I did end up hauling in this video. But that'll be it for this one today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.